welcome back to KAMMA. I'm Khalil Deal.
Mandio.
We are KAMMA, about to talk about the early predictions for the main card now for UFC 303, Alex Pereira versus JIRI PROCHAZKA. So in the prelims, me and Andy O, we were perfect on all 8 fights. We were in agreement. Let's see if we can keep it going in the main card. Let's start off by talking about who's in the main card. We got Ian Machado Gary versus Michael Venom Page, Mara Bueno Silva against Macy Chiasson, Anthony Smith against Roman Dolidze, Brian Ortega against Diego Lopez, and of course the main event, Alex Pereira against Jiri Prochazka. We are going to start it off with the first fight. Let's get into it.
All right, so the first one here, Machado Gary against Venom Page. Now, this fight, I'm looking forward to a lot. I think it's going to be really exciting, especially if it stays on the feet the whole time. And I can't wait for it. So my pick for this one, it's got to be Ian Gary. I would like it if Michael Page knocks him out, to tell you the truth. But the thing that kind of made me flip my pick, because initially I liked Michael Page here, but it's that Gary does have grappling. Like, maybe he didn't apply it yet really in the UFC, but he did before in Cage Warriors when he was there. And why not apply it against Michael Venom Page if he has to, right? And if it's going to get him the victory here because of how dangerous Page is. And also, Gary's also good in the clinch. Like, he defeated Neil Magny. A lot of work was done in the clinch in that fight, and as well against Jeff Neal. Page is ridiculously fast on the feet. He's really fun to watch. But with him, what gets in his way as well is that sometimes he tries doing something crazy and he stumbles on his own feet. Well, like, he can fall on his own and you can just pounce on him because of like all the tricky stuff he tries to do. So yeah, and Gary has really good striking himself, right? He's a striker first himself, and he's a high caliber, no doubt. So the pick has to be Ian Gary for me in this one,
All
by
right.
by knockout or decision, let's say.
All right, man. So yes, we are in agreement in the
Aha.
first fight of the main card. I as well have Ian Machado Gary to win this fight. Now, just to let you know, he did use his grappling in the UFC. He did it against Gabe Green. I remember
Oh,
it.
did he? Okay, I don't remember that,
Yeah,
but
that was a while ago in 2022 against Gabe Green.
uh-huh.
He won a unanimous decision. He did do some grappling in that one in that fight there. So yeah, definitely.
You learn something every day with KMMA.
Yeah, man, exactly. Michael Venom Page is very dangerous, but again, the common denominator in this entire card, look at the age difference. Ian Machado Gary, 26 years old. Michael Venom Page, 37 years old, man. It's a huge difference there of 11 years. They're both the same height. Michael Venom Page is going to have a 5-inch reach advantage. I don't think that that's going to be a problem for Ian Gary, even though Venom's got the reach advantage. Ian Gary's got good kicks, and I think that that's going to be a thing in this fight. I think he will get a lot of kicks on Michael Venom Page. He will get good leg kicks. He's got some very strong leg kicks there. He's
Yeah,
also
the thing with Gary there, he does have Croc T-Rex arms kind of thing going on with him. But you're right about his kicks. They make up for it, and just his stance in general, right? It doesn't seem like he has T-Rex arms, so I don't think it'll affect him either.
Yeah, he's got long leg kicks, man. He's got long legs, and I think that he'll be kicking the shit out of Venom Page's legs there, so it's going to slow him down. Also, I like the striking on with Ian Gary a bit more. I like the way he fights more than Venom Page. Venom Page keeps his hands down a lot, leaves his head wide open, and of course, when he fought Kevin Holland, Kevin Holland didn't take advantage of that, and didn't take advantage of trying to grapple him either. When he did try to do any kind of clinching or trying to maybe even attempt, Michael Page just threw him off, pushed
Yeah,
him
he
off,
shoved him off.
shoved him off easily. Ian Gary, he's more smarter than that. He has better technique at takedowns and better technique at grappling than Kevin Holland did. And again, Ian Machado Gary has fought the better fighters. I mean, the last fight against Jeff Neal, He won a split decision there. He beat Neil Magny by unanimous decision. Neil Magny is very, very good. He beat D-Rod by knockout. He fought Kenan Song. He knocked him out. He got a unanimous decision on Gabe Green. Let's face it here. Venom Page hasn't fought anyone other than Kevin Holland.
Oh, he has. He fought Yamaguchi there. That was okay.
Yeah, but this was in Bellator, okay?
Doesn't matter. They're still good. Like Logan Storley is good, albeit he did lose to him, right? Douglas Lima is good, right?
Bro, he fought Derek Anderson, Douglas Lima. He lost to Logan Storley. He did fight Gyoti Yamochi, and then of course Kevin Holland. So I don't want to equate that these guys that Venom Page fought are as good as the guys that Gary fought in the UFC. I still think that Gary fought the better fighters there. But again, look, 5-fight winning streak. He's doing amazing. Ian Gary is the future, man. I think that he's going to just be the more technical fighter. Venom Page is all over the place, man. This guy has no technique at all. He just swings for the fences. He dances around, does weird things, makes funny faces. He keeps his arms down. He'll stick out his tongue a couple times, look angry and look fierce. But in reality, man, he's not that great. I'm not on the huge hype train as some people are on Venom Page. I think that he got lucky when he beat Kevin Holland because Kevin Holland was an idiot and didn't fight properly against this guy.
Yeah, but you knew Kevin Holland was an idiot going into that fight, right? So
yeah, but I thought that Kevin Holland would at least attempt a takedown or two, and actually do it with intelligently. He did not do that.
I admit I am on the Page bandwagon because I love the way he strikes, even though I semi-agree with you. But you gotta go with really who's gonna win, right? And I just see Gary winning this fight, right?
Yeah, I got Ian Gary winning this one. I think that he gets the win by KO or decision as well in this one. There is a possibility of a submission if he can get him on the ground. I know that Gary does have some subs. Out of his 14 wins, let's take a closer look here. Ian Gary has he has only one submission win. But if he gets Page on the ground, you're going to be able to see that face he makes when he gets taken down. Yeah, I really think that there is a possibility, though, that if he gets him on the ground and they start grappling on the ground there's a possibility Venom Page, not really,
not being able to get up.
Not very good on the ground. Yeah, not being able to get up, and also might give his back when he tries to turn around. And might give his back up, and he could get a sub. But I'm gonna stick with KO decision for Ian Gary in this one. And I just think he's a better fighter overall than Venom Page, and I think that Venom Page's style of fighting with the recklessness and Ian Gary is just going to be much more technical. Plus, I don't like him leaving his arms down, kind of Bobby Green style, and I think that leaves him open. Gary's a very technical fighter. He'll get those straight jabs to the face and hurt him. All right, so we are in agreement there. Moving on up the card next, we've got Mayra Bueno Silva versus Macy Chiasson. Now, in this one here, man, I really like Mayra Bueno Silva. She's been one of my favorite fighters for a long time. I've always liked her. I've always liked her to get the win by submission. I've cashed many times by submission with Mayra Bueno Silva. I think that she's a very good submission specialist. She is going to be the same age as Macy, but we have to look at the height advantage here for Macy Chiasson. We're talking 5'11" to 5'6". We're talking a 5-inch height advantage, which is huge. Not to mention also a 5.5-inch reach advantage at 72 inches to 66.5. That's huge as well.
I'm loving it.
The pick for me is going to be Macy Chiasson. I really don't like picking her because I'm a big fan of Mayra Bueno Silva. I'm a big fan of hers, but I got to go with Chiasson in this one, man. One of the things I don't like about Silva is she gasses out in the second and third round. She gasses out hard. I think Macy Chiasson is going to work her in the clinch. She's going to get her against the cage, do those knees, do
Yes.
those punches in the body, the elbows that she likes to do. Macy Chiasson is actually good at grappling now. She's actually going to be able to get offensive takedowns. She's got those long legs. She'll be able to do some nice kicks. She could do some. She could stay at a distance too on Mara Bueno Silva. I think Mara Bueno Silva is going to get frustrated not being able to get in close to her. Not going to be able to strike very well against her. I mean, on the feet, we got to give it to Chiasson. On the ground, of course, it's Mara Bueno Silva, but I don't think that Mara Bueno Silva is going to have an easy time taking down Chiasson. I think she's going to get frustrated, and I think that that's going to gas her out. She's going to be tired of trying to like run after Chiasson and try to get her down. And I think in the clinch, that's where Chiasson is going to get her against the cage. I think she's going to be the more powerful fighter. I think she's going to be stronger and just bigger. So I got Chiasson to get the win here, and I think Chiasson wins it by decision.
Yeah, man, everything you said, I feel was spot on in that one, man. I really thought you were going with Bueno Silva
I
after
like
all.
her a lot, but man, the height advantage,
Yeah,
the reach advantage, it's too much. I think.
I think Shason is gonna come there, out muscle her, like you said, put her up against the fence, punish her with shots. I believe she's gonna take her down. Shason gets takedowns now, and I also think she's gonna be big and heavy on top, gonna be able to do some ground and pound there. Also, as I like to provide our viewers with some tidbits of wisdom, if I can in every fight. I really believe that Bueno Silva is not the same fighter since she stopped taking her illegal substances. Because remember, she got that sub against Holly Holm there, which got overturned because she was on drugs. She lost her next fight, and lo and behold, she blamed it on the drugs or something, that it affected her system, something or other. Fact of the matter is, it probably made her better, and she's not on these drugs anymore. And I don't think she found anything else to replace them with. So yeah, the pick is Chason here. I'm really liking this Chason pick actually.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, and not to mention also, I think that Chiasson has just fought some better fighters too. Marion Renault, Raquel Pennington, they both lost to Raquel. Norma Dumont, she beat her in a split decision. Norma Dumont is very good. Irene
yeah,
Aldana, she knocked her out. Sorry, Irina, she got knocked out by Irene Aldana, but it was an up kick to the liver there in that fight. I remember that fight. She got kicked in the liver there.
yeah.
And
I
then
remember
she
that
also
too.
subbed Penny Kianzad. But who is Bueno Silva really beaten? She's beaten Yan Yan Wu, who's really garbage. Stephanie Egger, she got her in that armbar. Stephanie Egger is old too and washed up. And Lena Landsberg was an old bitch, as we like to call her as well.
Oh,
Old and washed up as well, Lena Landsberg. So she hasn't really beaten very, very good fighters. She lost to Raquel Pennington as well there. So I just think Macy Chiasson is going to be too big for her. And that's it, man. I think she's going to gas out at some point, and Chiasson will outpower her there. All right. So we're in agreement in this one. We're going to move on up the card now to the next fight. We have Anthony Smith against Roman Dolidze. Ah, man. So for this one here, this is tough. This is very tough, man. Both of these fighters are pretty good, man. Anthony Smith, of course, is a vet. The guy's got almost 50 fights, man. Actually, no,
almost
he's got more than
60
that.
fights.
Yeah, almost 60 fights. Yeah, it's actually it's crazy, man. How many fights he has. And he was really impressive in his last fight against Vitor Petrino, man. I really didn't think he was going to win that fight, and he ended up latching in that guillotine.
Let's be honest though, that he was an idiot for trying to get himself into that position. Who was it? Belfort? Not
No,
Belfort.
Vitor Petrino.
Yeah, he reminds me of Vitor Belfort. Yeah, Vitor, he really left his neck in there, and Smith has skills like that, but wow. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, man.
Yeah, man, it's very tough, this one. Let me see here, man. You know
I can
what?
continue while you think about it, because
I think I'm going to go with, man, it's tough because I like the grappling of Roman Dolidze. I think Dolidze is pretty tough. But you know what, man? I'm going to give it to Anthony Smith here. Like, I'm not very confident in this one. but I'm gonna give it to Anthony Smith, man. Just the guy's just fought so many people. I don't like that he's lost 3 of his last 5 fights, but then again, Delice lost his last 2 fights. Lost to Nasruddin Imavov by majority decision.
And that was a bad fight. Yeah.
Yeah, he lost to Marvin Vittori. He did beat Jack Hermanson, which is good, but he knocked out Phil Haas, which anybody can knock him out, and he knocked out Kyle Dykhouse, which is not that great.
Anybody can knock him out, I believe, too.
True, and Anthony Smith. I mean, he fought some tough guys. Magomed Ankalaev, he got knocked out by. He fought. He lost to Johnny Walker, which hindsight doesn't look good now, but he did beat Ryan Spann by a split decision. He lost to Khalil Roundtree by knockout, and he beat Vitor Petrino. So it's going to be tough, but I'm going to go with the tricky vet here with Anthony Smith. I think Anthony Smith is going to be the better fighter in this one. I think that just by a slight edge, though, I think that the height advantage too. He's going to be 2 inches taller.
Well, on paper, Anthony Smith is the best in the world, right?
I mean, man, he's a vet, man. He's a savvy veteran. I think that Roman Delice is going to try to grapple and try to wrestle down Anthony Smith, and I think that in doing that, he might leave himself vulnerable to getting a submission if he tries to play around too much on the ground with Anthony Smith there. Anthony Smith's got some good striking as well. I got a slight lean on Anthony Smith. I'm not very confident in it. I think this one is a hedgeable fight for betting, but I'll take Anthony Smith to win. I'll take him winning by, let's see here.
You could basically say anything there, I would think.
You know what? I think he might get a KO. I think he's going to get a KO or a submission. I'll take inside the distance, possibly in this one. Who you?
All right. Yeah, man. This can be a tricky one. I'm going to roll with Roman Dolidze in this one. I think he's going to bounce back after his previous performances. I think Smith would be a bigger underdog than he is now if it wasn't for his, let's face it, fluke win against Vitor Petrino there. He's crafty, and that was a crafty veteran play, and that was a boneheaded play by a young up-and-comer with too much testosterone, right? Roman Dolidze, he hits a lot harder. He's no joke on the ground either. Like, if he doesn't, his types of submissions, they're not really like too planned ahead. He grabs something at an inopportune time and he tries to rip it off. And if he doesn't rip it off, and it's still dangling there, like what happened with Phil Haas, he knocks them out after, that really was a submission victory for Dolidze, but they didn't call it. Phil Haas was like lame and he knocked him out after that. But like you said, everyone knocks out Phil Haas these days. I just don't, I still think Smith, he's not going to be able to withstand a few of those hard shots by Dolidze, because everything with Dolidze hurts, right? And he could use a lot more kicks, Dolidze. I say that about a lot of guys, but if he catches Smith even a couple times, like with leg kicks, Smith is going to be hampered up, because he admitted a couple fights ago, man, I just can't stop those leg kicks. You fight 55 fights in your career, you have no idea how to stop leg kicks. Anyway, close fight though. Gonna go with Dolidze, gonna give him one more chance. Can't say the same thing about Smith, because I may pick him next time and give him his 10th chance, but I'm gonna give Dolidze one more chance, and I say knockout or sub.
You know what? I'm gonna pick Dolidze. Just before I'm just thinking, hearing the stuff you were saying, and again, I was already on the fence there. I'm gonna go with Dolidze as well. You know what? I changed my pick. I'm gonna go with Dolidze as well. I do feel like the submissions that he can do. He's a better jiu-jitsu, I find, than Anthony Smith. And like you said, the leg kicks might hurt him, and the damage that he could put on him.
Yeah, not even like he's not going to be gunning for them the whole fight, but just catch Smith with a one even. You'll get him all freaked out, switching his stance.
I think he can hurt him. I think you're right. I think Dolidze can hurt him. I think he's going to be the more powerful guy. I'm going to switch my pick to Roman Dolidze as well here. So we are in agreement there. I switched my pick on that one. All right, let's move on up to the next fight here.
Okay.
Yeah, just a second.
Yeah, so we got Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega against Diego Lopez. All right, so this one, wow, I'm really looking forward to this one also. I'm going to be picking Diego Lopes. I said I'm going to continue picking him until he loses, and last I checked, he hasn't lost yet. And Ortega, man, not very active, right? He fought, I think it was around 5 times in the past 6 years, something like that. He had a good showing the last time against Yair Rodriguez. I'll give him that. I'll give him the fact that he's super dangerous and can clamp on arm triangles and just all sorts of subs, real super quick. But I think Lopez is definitely on the roll here. He definitely has the momentum, even though Ortega won his last fight. Uh, I think he's just going to be too much in the end for Ortega. Like Ortega's tough as anything, but he's taken a lot of damage. Ortega also said on a side note that he's moving up in weight classes after this fight, win or lose, because there's
Yeah.
no belts for him. Something like that. Now, I don't know if it's going to have an effect on this fight, but it's just for some food for thought. But I'm loving the aggressiveness of Diego Lopez. He's like going to go for a finish just like he always has. The thing I worry about is I don't want him jumping into something too dangerous for Ortega to catch him in something, because Ortega can sub people. Like we know this, right? So he has to be careful. But at the same time, I don't want to see Lopez lose any of that fire he has with him. Very exciting to watch. I'm sticking with Diego Lopez in this fight.
All right, we are in agreement as well. I got Diego Lopez as well in this one, man. And I like this one for Diego Lopez. He's also going to be the bigger guy at 5'11".
And the bigger guy, yes.
Brian Ortega's 5'8", man. That's a very good 3-inch height advantage there. Also, he's going to have a 3.5-inch reach advantage as well, Diego Lopez. So that's also very, very good. And yeah, I mean, he's lost 3 of his last 5 fights. Lost to Yair Rodriguez. He did beat him after he subbed him in his last fight, but then he lost to him before that by knockout. It was a shoulder injury there. He did also lose to Alexander Volkanovski, and he beat Chang Sung Hung, but he also lost to Max Holloway. So he lost 3 out of his last 5. Diego Lopez only
And you're
lost.
talking of, and that Max Holloway fight, by the way, happened in 2018.
Yeah, very long time ago. Diego Lopez, the only loss he's had in the UFC was in his UFC debut against Movsar Evloev, and that was a unanimous decision. And he also came in on very, very short notice in that fight. And Movsar Evloev is way better on the ground, I find, than Brian Ortega, and also is a very good guy that can get submissions as well. So, and he was able to stuff the takedowns a lot in that fight, and also he was able to avoid getting subbed in that fight. And he also almost subbed Movsar in that
Yeah,
fight.
came very close to subbing Movsar.
Yeah, and he beat Gavin Tucker after by submission. He knocked out Pat Sabatini, another very good grappler, another very good wrestler, and also he knocked out Sadiq Youssef, who's a strong guy. So I like Diego Lopez in this one to get the win. I think he's going to be the bigger guy. I think that he's going to be able to stuff the takedowns that Brian Ortega is going to try to do. I think that Diego Lopez is going to be able to get. He's actually very good on the feet. I think he's actually a better striker than Ortega.
He's also going to be
boxer.
faster. He's also going to be
Faster?
faster than Ortega, I think.
That's true. And when the fight gets to the ground, Diego Lopez is a very good submission guy, very good in the black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he stands a chance to get a sub against Brian Ortega. So I've got this fight. I got Diego Lopez to win inside the distance in this one. I think he gets a finish and wins by submission here or knockout. All right, so now we are in agreement with every single fight so far in the main card and in the prelims. We're now at the main event of the evening. Alex Pereira against JIRI Prochazka. So for this one here, man, I definitely do like JIRI as a dog, man. I think that he is a crazy underdog there. I think that we'll talk about the betting there, but I definitely like JIRI as a dog. But I'm gonna pick Alex Pereira to get the win in this one.
You know where we're going when you start how good of a dog they are, eh?
Yeah. Alex Pereira, I think is just going to be too strong and too powerful. I think the leg kicks are going to be a problem too. Alex Pereira is going to get a lot of leg kicks on JIRI as JIRI tries to advance all the time. I think it's going to slow him down. His last fight, he knocked out Jamahal Hill. He also knocked out JIRI Prochazka. So again, this is a part 2, and he already beat him once. And you know how they say it's hard for the guy that gets beaten to win the second time around.
In high profile, like championship main event fights like this, that's definitely true. Like he beat him once, man. It's likely he beats him again.
That's right. He also beat Jan Blachowicz by split decision. He did lose to Adesanya by knockout, but then he also knocked out Adesanya, right? So, I mean, 2 fights against Adesanya, and he, knocked him out the first time, lost the second time, but then he won all of his fights after that. I think that Pereira will win this fight by knockout, just because Jiri leaves himself open a lot. He takes a lot of strikes, man. He gets hit a lot, Jiri, man. You saw what happened in Jiri's last fight. Man, this guy was getting smashed in the face by a Ratchik. I couldn't even believe that he ended up winning that fight. I thought he was going to get knocked out for how much damage he was taking, man. He was like a punching bag in that fight. Alexander Rakic was lacing him with punches, but somehow, some way, Jiri was able to come back in that fight and not get knocked out. And he's very powerful. He's got a lot of heart. But I think that Pereira is just more powerful than Rakic. And I think that a punch from Pereira is not the same as a punch from Rakic. I think he knocks out Prochazka, man. Who you got?
One punch in particular, that left hook by Pereira, would be more
right, that left hook, yes.
But overall, I would say Prochazka may have more power. Look, this fight for me is really close. I love both of these guys. I love watching both of them. In a way, it's almost a shame that I have to pick one of them to win, right?
I know.
I'm gonna have to go with Alex Pereira here, man.
Yes.
We said this in before. Every fight's different, but if you go by history, like the winner of the first fight will win again in these types of fights. Look, Prochazka, it will come forward against anybody, and that goes the same for Pereira. So Pereira's problem is going to be fighting a little bit off his back foot, moving backwards. But he's good at countering also. It's not like he's going to be a deer in headlights and not know what to do. And yeah, just that left hook and those kicks, man, like you mentioned, he could really damage Prochazka more than Prochazka would be, more than his mind would like to admit, right? And end up really piecing him up there with his style. He reminds me of players in sports, like in hockey or like soccer, that can really slow the pace down, right? Pereira can kind of do that. Now, I don't think he's going to run the show like that against Jiri, but he's going to try, right? He's going to try to use range. Prochazka's a maniac. Love his heart. Love his coming forward. What can win Prochazka's his fight is what wins him every fight, just being unorthodox and relentless and having a granite chin. But I expect Pereira to get it done again here. This guy's on a roll. This guy may become heavyweight one day, may win the heavyweight title one day. Who knows? It's a shame Jiri has to lose to him again. Somebody else is he may have to wait until Alex Pereira goes up a weight class before he has another chance at the title, but we'll see. So yeah, the pick is Alex Pereira by knockout decision.
Yeah, I'm going to say straight up knockout here because I don't think this fight goes to decision for sure.
Yeah, it probably won't, eh?
This
Yeah.
is going
All
to
right, knockout sub. Knockout sub.
Yeah. Again, Prochazka is a live dog. We'll talk about that in the betting, man. I definitely have to have a little sprinkle on him, man, because anything can happen. Not saying it with the greatest of confidence that Alex Pereira wins this one, but I think he can. I think if he gets that left hook and he damages Prochazka with the kicks to slow him down, I think that's where he'll get the win. So there you have it, folks. We are in agreement so far with every single fight in the entire card. Me and Andy O in agreement with every single fight, and I had to change a pick too. I was almost in disagreement with one of the fights there with Roman Delice and Smith, but normally that looks good. When me and this guy agree with everything, a lot of times we do good in the betting. So like and subscribe, folks. Hope you guys like our videos, and let us know who you guys are having, man. Leave a comment, man. Let us know what's up.
And come back for the Friday videos.
And on Friday for our final predictions and also our bets.
And thoughts. And weigh-ins. And excitement.
Peace out, folks. KAMMA.